In this episode of Rooted in Retail, I am talking to Jennifer Johnson, the owner of True Fashionistas, Florida's largest lifestyle consignment store. Jennifer has been an entrepreneur for 25 years and has taken so many of her lessons and things that she has learned and shares them in this episode. I mean, there's so many great things that we talk about that I know you're going to love. And I'm just really grateful for her just being so giving with her information in this episode. Jennifer's doing a great job with social media, and she talks about, we really kind of peek behind the curtain on how she's getting it done. I think one of her tips is going to save you a lot of frustration and hassle when it comes to your social media. You'll love it. Plus, she's got a great tip for anybody that feels nervous of being on camera or live streaming, if you have fears of messing up or how you look or anything like that. She's got an excellent piece of advice for you to overcome those fears. Jennifer also has her brick and mortar store, an e-com, a podcast, a coaching business. She's doing so much, and she talks about how she finds balance. One thing she does, I think, would be great for every business owner to do. So I can't wait for you to hear it, and I hope you implement this tip as well. And she shares how she's grown her store, how she's seen her success, and also drops some really great resources. Before we dive into this episode, let me introduce you to my guest. Jennifer started her career in the bridal industry, where she owned and operated a very successful and nationally recognized wedding and event planning business and bridal shop. She was featured on shows such as Insider Edition, Home Delivery, and several local TV and radio shows as a wedding professional. She is also a former Miss Petite Minnesota and national model and actress, and continues with her modeling and acting career today. Ever since she was a little girl, she has dreamed of fashion. Fashion is her passion. After moving to Naples from Minnesota in 2009, Jennifer, a true fashionista at heart, decided to open a designer resale store that catered to the whole family, a first of its kind in Naples, so she could bring designer clothing, accessories, and great customer service to others at great prices. True Fashionistas is Naples' first luxury designer resale specialty online designer consignment store. She has built her business on a foundation of hard work, honesty, integrity, and exceptional customer service. Jennifer lives in Naples with her husband and twins. You can learn more at truefashionistas.com. And let's dive into this episode. Welcome to Rooted in Retail, the show that's dedicated to helping independent retailers thrive in today's ever-evolving retail landscape. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, and I'm thrilled to have you join me weekly as we explore topics that are vital to the success of your store. From marketing to mindset, money to merchandising, sales to leadership, we'll cover it all. Each episode features interviews with industry experts and accomplished retailers who share their real-life insights and actionable advice. Get ready for a great conversation on how to build your dream business with Rooted in Retail. Jennifer, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So I know you through Crystal Media. You are a client of ours, and you have had some incredible success both with us and on your own. You've shared some really cool things that you've done, and I'm so excited for you to share with our listeners today. I think they're going to be really inspired by what you've done. But before we get into those successes and what's working for you, will you share a shortened version of how your journey from growing up in Minnesota to now being a successful entrepreneur in Naples, Florida?
Yes. So I started out, I grew up on a dairy farm in central Minnesota, the second oldest of 6 siblings. We didn't have any money. We were really poor. And my grandma and I would go out garage selling on Saturdays to buy clothes, and then she'd remake them to fit us. And that's kind of where my love affair with fashion started. And honestly, I don't know I'm assuming this will resonate with people, but back in the day, we had catalogs like Montgomery Ward's and Sears and JCPenney's. I would spend hours looking at them because I loved clothes. And that I thought was going to lead me to a career in fashion, and it sort of did. I went on to found a wedding and event planning business, a bridal shop, and wedding rental business. So fashion, but not quite what I was hoping for. And then we ended up moving to Florida, and a couple of years after we moved to Florida, something in me was just like, you've got to do this. You need to do this. And I started True Fashionistas. And it's all from there. It's just literally, I'm kind of paying homage to my grandma and homage to growing up and those memories that she instilled in me. It was a wonderful time, and it led me to create my business.
I love it. And what year did you start True Fashionistas?
2011.
Okay, 2011. Okay, and then your store started as an 1,800 square feet store, and it
Right.
grew into 13,000 square foot, which is awesome, making it the largest lifestyle consignment store in Florida, which is awesome. So, can you share some key steps or strategies that helped you achieve that kind of growth?
Sure. So backing up, yes, it was 1,800 square feet. Within a year, we had to knock out a wall and make it 3,600. And it just kept going from there. But I would say slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race, because we started pretty slow. And I say it took us that long to incubate our business to be able to take it to the next step. And we did try some things that were in my gut. I was telling myself, I'm not sure that this is what we should be doing. We expanded to a very large national mall kind of thing. And they approached us. And I mean, it was like having George Clooney come and give me a big old kiss. It was like, we have to go there. We have to move into the space. It didn't work out for us. We moved too quickly. And that was, probably 8 years ago. It would have been better now, but I still go back to slow and steady.
Well, so something I've been saying a lot lately, I heard this many years ago, but for some reason it's coming up a lot lately, which is we overestimate what we can do in a year and we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And it's really that long term, like the patience, the slow and steady, the commitment, where we can see that real growth, right? That upward, taking off, the tipping point kind of thing. But in that shorter period, sometimes we're just focused there. And that's really not going to help set us up for that long-term success. So it's excellent advice, slow and steady. So you're doing a fantastic job on social media, which makes me so proud.
Your help. So
well, we are happy to help, but you're posting, you're consistent, you're posting daily, you have humanized content, you are doing stories, reels, feed posts, you are doing your live selling events, you're showcasing different types of people in your content. Like, you're checking so many boxes here, Jennifer. I love it. A lot of our retailers struggle with getting social media done and being consistent with it. So can we kind of peek behind the curtain, and will you share how you get it all done with your social?
absolutely. So I think you were spot on when you said consistent, because that's what it takes in anything that you do. It's all consistency. And it's kind of a muscle memory too for the person who's actually doing it. You're just like, oh, I know every day I have to do this and this and this. You have a checklist, and then it just becomes ingrained in you. But there's really two things that were game changers. One, 100% game changer for us, and that's batching. Okay. We batch everything we do so what I do for the photos for all of our social media, we will have one day a month that we come in and our photographer comes in. We take all of our pictures for the whole month, and we have it all mapped out, and then they get put on every single day. But if we did those just a week at a time, or if we did them it doesn't work that way. You have to do it. It's a mindset of, this is what I'm here to do right now. I'm going to do it. I'm going to get it done. And then it's fix it and forget it. It's like throwing your food in a crock pot and you have a beautiful meal by the end of the day. Same kind of concept. We're doing it in one day, we're done. So that is one of the biggest things. I use that for the photography. I use that for all of the podcasts that I do. I use that for all of the blogs that I do. It has become my way of life because it works so well.
It's such a great tip. Love it. Okay. And what's number two?
Number two is reusing your content. Okay. You've spent the time or the money to write that blog or to take those pictures. And what I mean by, blogs, you can take your blog and you can reuse that content in a post for Facebook or an Instagram post or a LinkedIn post. You could use it for Pinterest. And I know a lot of people, I'm big into Pinterest because I've really seen a lot of growth with Pinterest. We take pictures. It could have been a picture that we took a year ago. It doesn't matter that that product is no longer available. That's not the point. It's just getting in front of people and it's reusing that content. It's content you have. It just makes life easier. You don't have to always reinvent the wheel.
Such good advice. I think we often think, I have to always have new stuff. I have to always have new stuff. And the thing is especially with social, only a small percentage of people are seeing what you're posting the first time. So if you post it again, even if it's a month from now, that is okay. There's a good chance that a whole batch of new people are going to be seeing that.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. And to your point too, with Pinterest, if you've got the right type of store, like being in fashion, like you, I would say home decor, baby, child, gift, fashion, wedding, florist, those categories do so great on Pinterest. And it is a search engine. People are going there for inspiration. Like I go there and I will say women, fashion trends, business casual. Like I need inspiration for a show I'm going to go speak at. And to your point, even if it was a year ago, I can find True Fashionistas and be like, ooh, I'm really liking their style. I'm liking these outfits they pull together. Then it creates that curiosity of I need more. I want to learn more from this brand. And we're clicking over to the website and then we're seeing all the new items. So great. I'm so glad that you said that. Don't be afraid to repurpose your content.
Absolutely not. I had to tell you just a couple days ago, I actually monotonized one of my pins. I put money behind it. I had within one day 30,000 views.
Wow.
And like 50 click-throughs.
Dang. And can I ask, how much did you spend on that?
$4 a day.
Yes. See?
So
love it. That it's so doable. And one thing too, I want to go back on when you were talking about blogs, because I bet some retailers are listening being like, oh, is blogging still a thing? But how are you using blogs for your store?
So I'm using it two ways. So I actually started another business, and I'll get to that in a second an offshoot of that. But in True Fashionistas, we're using it to highlight designers because we're consignment, we're resale. So we have everything from Chanel to Lululemon and Lily Pulitzer. So we'll highlight a designer, or we'll talk about a trend, or we'll talk about the Grammys or the Oscars and what people were wearing and that kind of thing. So we do that. And then in my other business, I use it as, my side business is called The Fashionista Life. And it's online digital courses for women-owned small businesses, from mindset to marketing, all of that. And I use that for my content for my women entrepreneurs.
Smart. It's a really great tool to use. And like Jennifer was saying, when you're talking about current events like the Grammys and these designers, like all of these are keywords. All of these things are people are searching for on Google. And so when you're creating content around those things, that what are my customers searching for right now, that's going to help you show up in those search results and help drive that organic traffic to your website. We love the organic traffic, right? Especially if we sell online. We love that. Yeah, so good. Oh my gosh, Jennifer, this is awesome. You're doing so much. Okay, now speaking of doing so much, like so much great things, but still there has to be balance here. So you have your brick and mortar store, you have your e-commerce store. You host a podcast. You also have this side business that you were just mentioning. And then of course your personal life. I mean, how are you doing it all successfully?
Well, truthfully, there's a couple of things that I do. And one was I hire for what I am not best at. Okay. It took me I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be completely honest here. It took me a long time to figure out that I was not good at managing employees. Not my strong suit. I'm a softie. I'm like, sure, that's fine. That's not necessarily where I need to be. So, but you hire for what you're not good at. If you're not good at creating content, you hire someone to do that. If you're not good at photography, you get my point. You just have to know what you're good at and what you're not, and be willing to be humble enough to walk away and go, I need to hire this position. So that's probably the first and foremost. I say that in any business that you have as a small business owner, you have to have your, I'm going to do air quotes here, but your board or your virtual bench. You need to have an attorney that you can call. You need to have an accountant. You need to have a marketing person. You need to have all of these people that are on your team or in your inner circle that you can rely on, because it doesn't all have to be you. You don't have to be the expert HR person. There's people that you can surround yourself with that know that better than you do. So stick to your wheelhouse and hire for what you're not best at. And then another game changer for me was founder's time, really. So I made sure that every Friday I carved out Fridays where I'm not in the store. I don't have a schedule. Whatever I need to throw in on Fridays, whatever I need to work on, that happens on a Friday. And there's a favorite quote that I have. And any of your listeners that have ever read the E-Myth book, Michael Gerber, he has something that just tore a dagger in my heart that made me go, oh my God, mic drop moment. And it is, if your business depends on you, you don't have a business, you have a job.
Yep.
And right there I went, oh my gosh, you're so right about that, which I was never able to work on my business because I was always working in it. And that's a hard thing. We can all say, I want to do it, but you have to at some point go, if I'm going to grow as a business, I have to step away and be able to actually work on it. And that's actually what's allowed me to step outside the store and do business development for the store and start my business of coaching women entrepreneurs. I'm writing a book. So all of that has kind of come out of all of that from my years of going, I've been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. It took that long. It took a long time. That was a long lesson, but I figured it out.
Yeah, you did. Well, and it takes time. We have to go through all the hard stuff to figure out what the heck we're doing. I mean, one thing I really learned over all these years is no one really knows what they're doing. We're just trying to figure it all out, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if you're small, if you're big, nobody knows. And you have to really figure out what works best for you. And I cannot agree with you more. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's who, not how. Like, we are not good at everything, and you might be capable of doing it all, but you're going to burn out. You're not going to do it well. You're not going to grow. It's just not sustainable.
Exactly.
And yeah. And then Founders Day. I love Founders Day. I love those days where in my schedule, I don't have any meetings, and you can kind of have this more like brainstorming, analyzing, thinking, the working on the business, because we want to be business owners. We don't want to have a job. We don't want to give ourselves a job. Like, such a good quote. Yeah. Oh, so good. So Jennifer, I really am loving this conversation.
Yay.
So your industry is so competitive with fashion, and then especially in the digital space. So what strategies have you implemented to make True Fashionistas stand out?
Yeah, we definitely have become more competitive in the resale area. I remember back when we started, it wasn't a thing. It was, the old consignment stores of days gone by, and we were entering it before it actually hit and before it became the coolest thing. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now, and it's going to just continue to grow. And there's two things. The first is really not really it's just being authentic. And I think there's a thread in that in anything that you do, right? People want real people. They want to know that they're dealing with a face, right? They want accountability. So if I order from somebody online and it's a massive retailer, I'm going to feel like a number. they don't want to feel that way. So we do a lot of, we do a lot of videos. We do all of our posts feature employees. I'm in a lot of them. Our associates are in a lot of them. So it's being authentic and just putting yourself out there and being open to your audience. So I think it's a strategy. It's a competitive strategy. And then always be open to doing new things. Always. Just because somebody says, well, that's never been done before, you can't do that, there's no way. Here's my thing, is we were told back when we started this, we had a website from the very beginning, an e-commerce business. It was not easy to begin with. But they all said, you can't do this. You only have one piece of every item. You don't have 5 of the same dress or 5 of the same shirt. I'm like, but that doesn't mean we can't do it. And it was a nightmare now looking back at going, how in the world did we even do that? But everything, Marie Forleo, everything is figure outable. We figured it out. So be open to possibilities, that just because someone says no and is pushing their thumb down on it doesn't mean you have to stop. You don't have to take no for an answer.
If you process credit cards, you're going to want to listen up for this resource, because it could save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a year. It personally saved my business thousands of dollars every single year. The resource is our friends over at Payrock, and they have an epic offer for my listeners. Listen up. All you have to do is send a merchant statement over to Payrock, and they're going to see if they can meet or beat your fees. If they cannot meet or beat your fees, then they're going to send you $500. So if you process credit cards, send a statement, you can make $500, or you could save hundreds, if not thousands like I did. It's worth checking. So go to crystalmediaco.com/payrock, and that's PAYROC, to get that process starting, to just send your statement. You guys, I drug my feet for years in sending a statement, and I'm glad I finally did, because I'm saving so much money. This is a great offer. I hope they can help you like they did me. That growth mindset, right? Really exploring the options and how can this work for me? And what if we did that? Like asking those kinds of questions versus agreeing with the shutdown or no, it just is too hard. That's where when we have a curious mind and just get into that state, I think we can ask better questions and come up with better solutions. So such good advice. Love it. And I just want to say, with your authentic comment, it truly, I've been doing social media for such a long time. The brands that have their people in the posts and that show up, and you know the owner and you know the employees, they're the ones that have sustained. They're the ones that have built this loyal, passionate following of lifelong customers that really connect. And it does not matter what industry you're in. That advice applies for any type of store. And I just feel like that is where independent retailers win, because big boxes, they can't do that. Sure, they can have some of the convenience and things like that. But I mean, you're spot on. And I just really hope, if anyone is having fear of putting themselves out there, because Jennifer, that's a big thing with our retailers. Like, they really have fear about that. And we talk about that on the show. Do you have any advice for somebody who is a little fearful of being on camera? I mean, you do such a good job. And, what advice would you give somebody who's like, I want to be there, but I'm worried. I have doubt.
Sure. I think the hardest step is taking the first step. Okay. Like in anything that you do, it's that uncharted waters. Is like, if I get on there, what if I mess up? Or that's what they want to see. They want to be able to relate that, oh my gosh, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone on a live and I start like, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, so many times. Or I start coughing and then I have to get a drink. We're human, and people want to see that humanness of us. So it's all about taking the first step. Once you see that, I know public speaking is a big thing for a lot of people, whether it's behind a camera or in front of people, but no one's ever died from it, I promise. And number 2, it's, again, going back to kind of muscle memory. The more you do it, the more you get comfortable. And if you're so nervous about it, go join Toastmasters. Go join a group where you're amongst people who have the same fears or who have those same thoughts, and you're going to soften up about that a little bit, and you're going to get better at it and more comfortable.
Yeah, you get that experience. That's excellent advice. I was also in Toastmasters when I very first started. I think I was like 21. I just graduated college, and the company I was working for sent me through it because I was doing a lot of networking, and they were like, we think this would be great for you to just kind of build some of that. One of the best things I went through, it really was. I mean, you get that practice, you learn. If anybody doesn't know what Toastmasters is, it's basically, maybe you can describe this better, Jennifer, but it's basically this organization of all sorts of types of people, but you often have business people who just want to build their public speaking muscle. They want more practice. They want to learn. They might have a presentation coming up that they're preparing for. How else would you describe it?
I would totally call it that. I'm actually in one. I have been in one for a while. And I'm going to say that it's not all about, like, I just practice. Usually you do have 3 or 4 speakers in a setting, and you critique each other, and it just makes you better. I took up a whole Toastmasters meeting because I'm doing a keynote. And they listened to everything, and the feedback that I got, because I was using it in front of a live audience rather than just reading it to myself, was just amazing. I made that keynote that much better because these people were there going, nah, that's not how I hear it. Change this up or do this. They're like-minded individuals, like you said, who want to be better at speaking, whether it's a presentation or a big keynote. It's really invaluable. It's a wonderful organization.
It's wonderful. I agree. And what a great tip to help you with your lives and being on camera for social, because even though you're not in person, like on a stage, we still feel like we are. There's still a camera that's on. And especially with live, yes, we worry about the mess ups, and we're live. We can't re-record it,
No,
so
you can't.
I know. Okay. So Jennifer, you've been noted as a woman of influence in Southwest Florida and have been featured in several local publications as a resale expert. Can you share some key lessons you've learned throughout your journey to becoming an influencer in the industry?
First and foremost, be involved. Get involved in your community. I can't say it enough. Entrench yourself. Whether that's, volunteering at your kid's school or joining the Chamber of Commerce. And I'm not just saying just join. I'm saying actually attend the events, go do things. So many people just overlook that. And I look at it as, how can I grow my business with the help of my community? Because they're coming out and shopping in my store every day. My give back to them is, I'm going to sponsor the Little League, or I'm going to give to this, or this charity. It's not about, I have my name on a banner. It's about, I gave to them. I know that money is staying in my community. I know I'm bettering something in my community. For example, like we do donations, things that don't sell. We have a company in town that all the profits stay in town. It's a nonprofit. So if you have stuff like, you can certainly do something like that. It doesn't always have to be money. It can be time, your time, talent, or treasure. But 100% be entrenched in your community. Keep putting yourself out there and keep showing up. I can't stress that enough, because the more places you are, whether it's online or in person, but do it intentionally. Make sure that you're aligning yourself with what your values are as a business and as a person, to make sure that you're just not throwing spaghetti on the wall and going, okay, I'm just going to be everywhere. Be intentional. It needs to align with you. And then you're doing it for the right reasons. And then I guess those would be my two big things.
Yeah. Well, and I would be curious of anyone that's listening right now, when is the last time you really sat down and thought about, what are my intentions? Where do I want to show up? Who do I want to connect with? What am I passionate about? We just get so caught up running our business and our personal lives that we kind of lose track, that vision of where we are going and what we do want to do. So if it's been a while for you, I really recommend that you block some time, have a founder's day, like Jennifer does, right? That's such a good way to use it, and get really clear on those things, and then start getting involved and getting connected and showing up in that true, authentic path that you are wanting to be on.
Exactly.
Jennifer, can you share a moment? Was there a moment? I'm sure there probably are several moments or decisions that was a turning point for True Fashionistas' success.
Wow. Well, I've had a few. One that didn't look like a turning point. So it was very early on in my business, months after we started, and I had started actually with a business partner. And she came to me and she wanted out of the business for whatever reason. And we ended up buying her out. And the next day, literally, she signed a lease on a store about 10 stores away from us in the same complex, took all of my employees except for one. Okay?
Oh my goodness.
So I know that doesn't sound like it sounded like a really bad turning point, right? But no, it wasn't. In the moment, I'm like, this is, you know?
Are we dreaming? This is this is
right.
A nightmare.
But in hindsight, it made True Fashionistas and me as the business owner who I am today, right? You've got, in the moment, yes, it looks horrible and it's bad, but you have to do is try to step out of it and be still enough a little bit to go, okay, but why is this a positive? What good can come of this? And the good for me was I put the pedal to the metal and I stayed in my lane and put my blinders on and just forged ahead. So that was one thing. And then the other was we moved our store. We had 3 stores. We had an eBay center, we had a furniture store and a clothing store. And we took all of those and combined those in February of 2022 into what is now our store. Best thing we ever did. Everything's all in one place. Our recording studio for our live shows are there, everything. It was a game changer for us.
Awesome. Yeah, you're streamlining some of that, which sounds great. And I do have to say, if you get a chance, check out Jennifer's lives, because I love you have your brand in the back. It's consistent. It's just so on point. Your branding is so great too. You have such a strong brand.
It's all pink.
It's all pink. That's why I wore pink today too. I was like, I'm interviewing Jennifer. I got to put my pink shirt on. Oh, so good. And going back to your first point with questioning and stepping back, I have gotten in the habit of asking or saying, this is happening for me, not to me.
100%.
So why, and you can ask, why is this happening for me? But you don't always know why. You didn't know why in that moment. You were probably totally blindsided, but we start to discover that you just have to have that kind of mindset.
And Crystal, it's so funny that you say that, because that's a mantra that I say to myself all the time. Okay, It's happening for me. It's not happening to me. I say it all the time because, again, it's that whole mindset thing that people could maybe think, oh, that's woo woo, but it's
right.
But it's not. It's like if you live your life like that, then you can step back and listen to those little whispers I say, or the gut feeling that we should be listening to. It helps you be still enough to try to listen to it. When we start getting our ego involved, which is all that, you should be humble. When we start getting our ego involved, that's when we start getting into that gray area.
Exactly. I love that that's your mantra. I just started the past few months, kind of before Evolve, it's really started using that. And I'm like, wow, this is really powerful. And it changed everything.
It does.
It changed my perspective and my mindset. And then all of a sudden the results and things that were coming to me because my mindset changed. It was incredible. So cool. Okay. Are you ready for the resilience round?
I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, I should have some sound effects for this. All right. First question, best business book.
100% hands down. It is called Begin with We. And that's by Kyle McDowell.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Such a cool book. It's 10 principles. It's things like we always do the right thing. We lead by example. We pick each other up, but there's 10 of them. Fabulous book.
Okay. Love it. Best retail technology, like an app or software?
I have 2. Number 1 is Entropy, and it's an AI kind of tool that we use to authenticate all of our bags. So a Chanel, Louis, it's all authenticated by the actual fabric of the bag. Wonderful, amazing, because everything you buy from True Fashionistas is 100% guaranteed authentic. And then Shopify. Shopify hooking up with our POS changed our lives. It just blew us up. We were just like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah, you back in 2011 doing your e-com. I don't know how that was happening.
It was horrible. You have no idea. We had to Photoshop and take pictures with the Canon and
my
Canon.
God.
We take pictures with an iPhone now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, so much better now. How do you keep up with the ever-changing retail landscape?
Learning and reinventing. And I have another saying, it's never, ever feel like you have arrived. If you think you've arrived, you're done. Because you let your guard down, you don't keep learning, you put yourself up on a totem pole, and nobody can touch me. Someone else is going to swoop right on in. So just be on your game and be learning and being open to those changes and possibilities.
Mm-hmm. The more you learn, the more you earn too. I like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Because retail is ever changing, how do you recharge your batteries?
You're going to think this is funny, but it's learning. It's reading books. I actually started a business book club because nothing existed like that. And I don't drink, and every book club was about drinking. And I'm like, this is crazy. Let's actually learn something. I have a stack of books like this on my desk that I'm going to get through because I love reading. So reading really recharges me. And if I can just get away from my surroundings, out of my town, things come to my brain that I'm like, whoa, where'd this come from? Get out of your environment sometimes if you need to have if you need to grow personally or you need to just recharge your batteries.
Excellent advice. To help retailers be stronger, rooted in success, what is a retail foundational best practice?
I'm going to go back to the beginning and say it's all about being authentic. There's nothing that's going to, there's no app for that. There's nothing that's going to let your light shine to your customers. And that's going to be everything. That should be a foundation.
Mm-hmm. Finally, what do you think the future of independent retail looks like?
Well, I think it's a combination of technology, however, with a lot of personal touch. There's a fine balance there, right? We've got AI and we've got all these new things on the helm of everything that's happening. But again, it's still going to be about the personal touch. I still want to know that you're there and I can pick up the phone and call you no matter what. And social is still going to be super huge in everything that we do. That's how people, we've got our phones interfaced 24/7. We wake up with them, we go to bed with them, and that's going to always be there. But I think it's going to be a fine balance, and it'll be interesting how it all plays out as to who latches onto what kind of thing.
Totally. And that connection, I think you're absolutely right. The connection and being authentic and the human aspect, I think is so powerful for retail for the future. I love it. And you guys do such a good job of it. Tell everybody how they can stay connected with you. And if they have any questions, how can they reach you?
Sure. So I have my two businesses. I have True Fashionistas, which is the resale store, and that is truefashionistas.com. My email on that is jennifer@truefashionistas.com. And then my women small business coaching and online courses and the blog and the podcast and everything is at thefashionistalife.com. And my email for that is jennifer@thefashionistalife.com.
Awesome. And we'll link to all that. Before we hit record, Jennifer said, this is her first time being a guest because she's usually the interviewer. And you knocked it out of the park, Jennifer. This is so great.
Thank you.
Loved it. I love this conversation. So yeah. Thank you for your time. And everyone, remember that I am rooting for your success, and have a great week ahead. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for being here. It means the world to me. Don't forget to join the Rise and Shine newsletter, which is social media news you need to know, sent via email every Monday morning. Go to crystalmediaco.com/rise to join. And don't miss the newest episode of Rooted in Retail, which drops every Sunday morning.